Hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Nerd.World History, and as I've said in my other videos, apologies for the delayed upload speed. Although this time it's partly due to a slight memory problem on my computer where videos I had previously recorded kind of got lost before they got a chance to be edited and uploaded. So this one, once again, redoing it. Also, babbled a lot, so I'm going to try and condense this one down a little bit. So, this is a continuation of the series of the Celtic tribes of pre-Roman Britain. As I said before, I'm now moving more systematically through the tribes, so we're starting back in the south again with the Durotriges tribe. They inhabited the area of southern England that is now known as Devon. They may, along with other local tribes to them, they probably were the one that actually lent their name to it though, lent their name to the county of Devon, being one of only a couple of tribes to really lend their name to a local area. Other names have kind of been wiped out by later Roman and Anglo-Saxon renaming of things. Now, the Durotriges tribe are fairly interesting. There's several interesting things about the tribe. It's kind of startling how much we know and how much we don't know about this singular tribe. For example, they put up staunch resistance to the Romans. They were not interested in becoming part of the empire, but the tribe was flawed, unusually for British tribes, actually. I mean, I know I've mentioned a few others that were like this. They were most likely some kind of tribal confederacy rather than a singular tribe. The Silures, for example, of Wales, or the Durotriges, the Cadavalauni, they were not tribal confederacies, they were a tribe. They were unified people with a organized command structure of some kind, one way or another. The Durotriges were not the same. They seem to have been not a collection of... This is what's weird though. They don't seem to necessarily have been a collection of smaller tribes. They probably were people who identified as the Durotriges, probably. But they didn't have a centralized sense of self and government. So when the Romans turned up, they were sort of local resistance trying to work together but not collaborating properly. So that's why they kind of toppled fairly quickly. They were defeated in less than a couple of years, I think. But they had also some of the most impressive fortifications. This is where we get to know a little bit more about them. The very famous Maiden Castle, for example, was one of their forts. Maiden Castle is the largest hill fort in the whole of Britain. Now, there's debate as to how effective any hill fort was really as a military stronghold, but I think that's putting it in perspective, not from a modern point of view, but from the point of view probably of the Romans or others. The Celts of Britain, and as I've said before, I'm going to keep using the term Celt because it's the easiest, most accessible term. So the Celts of Britain, they were used to fighting each other. They were probably used to fighting other Celts from Europe, and at a push, and I mean at a push, people from Scandinavia. And that's probably a push. Now, they had encountered Mediterranean powers before, but probably not in a direct major confrontational way. We know that mercenaries from Britannia had fought on the continent, not just against the Romans, but even for the Carthaginians, against the Gauls and against the Romans again, in the past. So it was not a foreign concept to them, but on a defensive level they weren't really used to it. Again, remember, Britannia was not a unified country. Durotriges, they were a country. The Dumnoni, they were a country. Now the Dumnoni, again, getting back to some sort of interesting things we sort of know about the Durotriges. The Durotriges probably originated on the continent. They were probably a Brythonic or Belgic tribe that migrated into Britain and either assimilated in or conquered or displaced a local people. And I cannot tell you which of those it is. It's probably some kind of assimilation. We are the Durotriges. No, I'm not doing the Star Trek thing. Anyway, I want to now, but I can't. Anyway, they probably started on, and again, probably started off more to the east. But with the third wave of Celtic invasions of Gaulish tribes, they were likely, due to their less coherent and cohesive nature of a tribe, apologies, they were pushed more westwards. Now they likely displaced the Dumnoni. They bordered tribes like the Atrebates. Now the Atrebates were of Belgic origin. In Belgic, basically, might as well call it Gaul. So they had moved from the continent. They likely displaced this lesser tribe, but it also may explain why they were so heavily fortified. There's an unusually large concentration of hill forts in Durotriges territory. This indicates one of two things. Or one of three things. One, they were either very wealthy and wanted to show off. That's probably part of it. They were very militaristic and always at each other's throats, or they were always defending themselves against external threats such as the Atrebates or the Catavaloni. It explains why they would build something as magnificent as Maiden Castle, because it's huge. I've never seen it, but I know its dimensions and I know just how big it was. I also know, even although the Romans, I wouldn't say they struggled to take it, the sheer size of it, the scale of it, slowed them down, certainly. And, yeah. Other, again, random things. Their name, Durotriges, it loosely translates as people from the hard ground. It may also have something to do with water. It depends on where the origin of the word Duro comes from, which word it derives from. But it more likely means people of the hard ground, and it's a reference to the fact that the ground of Devon is full of granite and chalk and is pretty hard. And this also lends itself to many of their buildings actually being relatively decent condition considering their age. They're also one of the few places where any kind of major naval anything has been found from prehistoric Britain. And there was I think it was about 10 meters long. A boat was dug up, I want to say back in the 1960s, but I've never been great with dates on this one. But basically, a 10-meter long boat, probably used for cargo. These weren't warships. That's not what navies were to the Celts. This would have been a trading vessel, probably for doing trade with Amorica on the continent, with the Celtic tribes of northern Gaul, or perhaps Hispania. So basically Amorica, of which they were part of a larger sort of swath of what was considered Amorican culture. Anyway, that's a different video. But basically, yeah, they had all these continental connections, but although their ancestors probably started out on the continent, they'd probably come to Britain in maybe 500 BC, integrated with, or absorbed, or whatever, possibly displaced a local population, and that could explain their sort of lack of harmony, and also why they weren't able to put up an effective unified front against the Romans, when really they should have been allying with the Catavaloni tribe and fighting against them proper. But that's not what happened. Obviously the Romans were going to beat them no matter what, but the point is they tried and they stood their ground. And I will go into, in future videos, a little bit more detail about some of the individuals, and particularly Maiden Castle, because I definitely want to do a video on that. If possible, I need to go down to it, but from where I live in Britain to there is quite a long way, and it's going to be a bit of a mission to go and do. But while I'm down there, Stonehenge also in that local area, so you know. And Khalifa Atrebati. There's another place I'd like to go and see, which was the capital of the Atrebates tribe. When I go down there, I'm planning to do a series of them. I've got some videos coming up from my recent trip to Wales, which is one of the reasons I've also been slow in my uploads. I've been away for a while. And anyway, beginning to babble again. Let me know in the comments below anything you want covering. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about the Celts, but also, as I am getting to easily halfway through all the tribes of Britannia now, someone let me know, would you, and I say let me know because it will require research and a lot more of my time, if you want me to continue this series out of Britannia and into the continent. And the reason that will be a little bit more of a test for me is I'm not as familiar with continental prehistory as I am with British, so definitely would be much more of a mission. But if there's enough interest, I might consider it, because, you know, learning experience for me too. Great discussion. Anyway, with all that said, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, definitely comment down below, because, you know, good for the algorithm, but also always interested in a discussion if I get to those comments anyway. But discuss amongst yourselves about the Durotriges or anything else about this. And I've got some videos on some very interesting topics for me coming up soon, which I'm getting excited about. I just never have any time to go and do these things anymore. Work always getting in the way. Babbling again. Thank you for watching. Gonna go. Bye bye.